Here at Varney & Company, we plant our flag in California every day. We want your viewers. And this week, we've been focusing on the threat of bankruptcy for Los Angeles. Today, we've got the reporter that's covering it from the ground floor. Phil Willen, he's the City Hall reporter for the Los Angeles Times. He joins the company right now. Phil, welcome to the program. We've been hearing that a bankruptcy filing for Los Angeles is a distinct possibility. How does it look from your point of view?
I think at this point it's pretty remote. I mean, it's still out there. Right now, the mayor and the city council are kind of in a tug-of-war over how to address what we have now, which is a $212 million deficit, which they have to close by the end of June. The years ahead look even grimmer. I mean, we're talking about up to $1 billion shortfall.
But Phil, hold on a second, Phil. We hear, the city controller said, we've got 4 weeks, it's actually less than that now, before we run out of money. Now, I know that you're trying to get give-backs from the unions. You're trying to get some cash from the utility. I put it to you, if you can't get those give-backs or the utilities cash, you're out of money. And a bankruptcy filing is not a possibility, it's a probability.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, it depends on the degree of probability. I think what the controller was saying is that in about a month, the city's going to run out of money. The city still has money in reserve, which it can transfer over to its general fund to keep the city solvent, at least until June. So that'll buy them basically a couple months to come up with a solution on how to get that money. Now, there's money out there, but they have to do a lot of wheeling and dealing to get it. And the question is whether unions will give back any money. And right now, it doesn't look like they will. So
what
it could be a dire situation.
What services are they talking about cutting? Obviously not services like police and fire, but we've heard that they're going to have to start cutting services. What are we talking about here?
Well, right this week, Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa said he called for shutting down the city, shutting down city agencies 2 days a week, and that would be non-emergency services and non-revenue generating services. So that would be everything. That would be libraries, parks, street sweeping, the crews that fill potholes. I mean, everything would be closed. Already the city is seeing some cutbacks kind of indirectly in police service and fire service. No police officers have been laid off, but they've cut back overtime, so there's fewer officers on the street.
Phil, wouldn't a bankruptcy filing actually be a good thing? I know it would be symbolically a real shock to the system and to a lot of other cities as well, but wouldn't it be a good thing? Because you could get a bankruptcy judge who comes in and says, look, you union guys, you can't have these lavish pensions. I mean, it would solve the problem.
Well, it would solve a problem, but it would be kind of a sledgehammer solution. I think going bankrupt would
Don't you think that a sledgehammer... I mean, look, I know you're in Los Angeles. I know you work for the Los Angeles Times, but don't you think that a sledgehammer solution might be required here?
Well, I think in the long run, going bankrupt would cost the city even more. As you know, I mean, when you go bankrupt, your credit is trashed, so borrowing money, which every city has to do to make payroll, would be even more expensive. So you get kind of this death spiral scenario where if you're broke, you get broker. So I mean, I think that for the city's sake and for the politicians' sake here, I mean, their political careers on the line to pull the city out of this.
What about you see, we're in the rest of the country. We're looking at what's going on in California. We see what was the richest state in the nation now insolvent, and you essentially are coming to us for money. You want a federal bailout. If Schwarzenegger doesn't get a federal bailout, you've got a real big problem on your hands. So you can understand how the rest of the country feels about your reluctance to go for a sledgehammer approach.
Well, for the state, that's a whole other scenario, and I agree. It's a bad situation, and the people in the country should be concerned about that. And I mean, and California should be held accountable for it. I mean, the problem is right now. I mean, we have the debate is on what to cut. I mean, there's no easy solutions anymore. Raising revenue is not an easy solution or an easy thing to do in this state because it requires voter approval, and no one wants to really do that, and no one thinks voters will approve it. So, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. People should be concerned about it. People should be angry about it. But, I mean, ultimately, something's going to have to be done. I mean, I don't know what it will be, but something will have to be done.
That's for sure. Phil, from the Los Angeles Times, we thank you for joining us, sir. Come again. We want to know what's going on with this bankruptcy possibility. Thanks very much, Phil.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much.